I love McDonald's. I mean, biting into that cheeseburger. Oh, no, 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 my friends. Welcome to the sippy hour, or iced coffee with Scott, whatever we come up with. We got a doozy today because I'm not sure if you're going to be able to tell, but I am exhausted. I have finally completed my Whoop. So, not sponsored or anything. This right here on my wrist is not a smartwatch. It's not a step tracker. It's a health tracker. This is called the Whoop, WHOOP 4.0. And this is just a strap you wear that monitors your health. So it goes through so much different things. The downside to this is it costs a lot of money to buy, and then it costs a lot of money per year. You're basically paying for the data. And if you guys know me, I am a data person. Today was my worst recovery day ever since starting with this. So I'm exhausted. So, where do we begin for today's video? This is going to be a health video. And you might think, is sleep the most important thing in your life? In my life? Is sleep really the number one thing that determines your health? The answer is no. How many hours of sleep you get is not the determining factor based off of my data and my real research that I did with the Whoop. And to show you guys just a little bit here, let's bring this up, make sure we got no personal information. All right. So, let's do a sleep. This goes over your sleep score, your recovery, your strain. So instead of tracking steps, this tracks your stress through the day and so much more. And as you guys can see here, we are recovered 32%. Our body has only recovered 32% from the day before. My worst day ever. And if we go over and see here, we can find here you can see this is our worst week ever. If you can see when we first started, this is a month ago. It's a little harder when you zoom out 6 months. So from a month ago, you can see my testing. You can see the green is good, yellow is red is just horrible. You don't want to be red. You just don't want to be in red. Well, we're in red today. And you guys can see here all my testing, how the difference, and then you can see how bad during some tests. So, with that being said, I'm functioning on my worst day ever as far as my body recovering. Now that we got that aside, I have monitored sleep, how soon you go to bed, how late you stay up. I have monitored eating before bed. I have monitored what if you eat before bed, different types of food like McDonald's, Wendy's, food at home. If you don't eat any food but you have junk food or soda or candy, I have done my data testing on it all. Because I want to live to be 100. That is a goal of mine, and I'm going to make it. You know, I have a saying in my life for a lot of things. I'm either going to make it or make it. These are the options. I have no other options. I'm going to make it or make it. Now, of course, it's all good and fine and dandy. You know, if the Lord calls me home, I'm not going to be mad at him. But I'm going to do everything in my power on this earth, you know, to better my health, better my life, just have perfect balance overall throughout my life. And that's been my goal for the last 3 years, is just to better myself. You know, I'm down 12 pounds from what I was. I'd be down more, but I gained more muscle mass. And anyway, that's besides the point. So, Where do we begin? On average, I get about 6 hours and 45 minutes of sleep for the last couple months. That's my average sleep score. I have tested it getting 4 hours of sleep. I've tested it getting 8, 9 hours of sleep. For me to get more than 9 hours of sleep, my body just says, nah, we don't need that. You know, my body just tells me. Some people need more, some people need less. Everybody is different. I will point that out. But based off of the data that I have done with my own personal research and other research, we're pretty similar. If people do the similar things, they can get similar results. So while we're all different in our own ways, we do tend to get similar results in the long picture. Maybe not for the first week or two, but in the long things. I would say about after 2 to 3 months of doing something consistent like someone else, you become pretty close to their patterns. So, it is a fun fact. My worst recovery days or nights. So recovery nights means my strain, my stress of the day, my activities, what I did the day before, and then waking up to how well my body recovered from the day before. My worst days of recovery has always came when I ate McDonald's before bed. So if I ate McDonald's within 3 hours before going to bed, I've had the worst recoveries out of everything. That's right. I have gotten 4 hours of sleep and had better recovery than getting 8 hours of sleep eating McDonald's the night before. That is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting because, yeah, it's very interesting. When I eat within 3 hours before bed of just regular food at home, it varies based off of the amount of food and how close to bed. If I eat a bagel within 3 hours before bed, my recovery dips a little bit, but not as bad. Here's the thing that we all are not going to like to hear, and I don't like to hear because I love food. I love food. I just like food. When you go to bed, not full force hungry, but when you go to bed slightly hungry where you think, I could eat something, but I don't really have to, but I could. When you go to bed feeling like that, your recovery is way better in the long run than if you eat a little snacky before bed. If you don't eat anything within 3 hours before bed, but you eat candy, your recovery dips. My recovery over the long run has dipped hard. Just eating candy. I'm not talking like, half of a Snickers. I'm saying a decent amount of candy. Drinking a soda within 3 hours before bed, let's just do the soda because I did that many times, actually didn't hurt my recovery as much as I thought it would, which is very strange because soda's got a lot of sugar, and I've tested it out. I've had candies and different candies that equal the same amount of sugar as a soda, and my recovery was still better than the candy, even though it was the same amount of sugar. I did notice candies that had red dye in it, that had red food coloring, red 40 or whatever it is. I believe it's the red 40. My recovery was worse than if I had candy that did not have red 40 in it. Like, it's... can that really make that big of a difference? Well, my data shows that... Whoa! Oh my goodness, guys. This is what I spilled a little bit of coffee on. This is what happens on 32% recovery. No! No! No, my friends! Well, if you guys can see, I didn't pee myself. Should I do what my grandma would always do? I remember my grandma would always wet a handkerchief with her spit and always like fix my hair or something. I'll always be like, stop, that's gross. Now look at me. Well, the nice thing is, iced coffee, it'll blend with my, I mark up my stuff. I got a mark on here and all kinds of stuff. But anyway. Yeah, so, which is just mind-blowing to me. So, sleep is not as important. I've gotten great sleep, like hours of sleep. I've gone to bed and I've purposely made sure I got 9 hours of sleep. But it doesn't matter. If you get 9 hours of sleep and you eat junk food or you eat before bed, it doesn't matter. Your recovery's oftentimes worse in the long run. You know, you'll have the short little spikes and difference, you know, within a week or two. But I'm saying within a month, it actually really affects you. So with that being said, what is my best recovery days? My best recovery days are 7 hours of sleep, not eating within 3 hours, not eating anything within 3 hours before bed. I've also tested out looking at a screen in bed for a short period of time, long period of time, versus not at all while in bed. When I looked on my phone in bed, staring at my screen for about 15 minutes, I didn't really see any really negative effect on recovery. When I spent about around that 35 minute mark to an hour staring at my screen in bed, I saw a big difference in dropping of my recovery. It wasn't like crazy like eating before bed, but there was a drop. The ideal recovery that I have noticed over the couple months has been not eating before bed, but not going to bed where you're like, I really am hungry. Like my stomach's legit growling. I'm so hungry. Not being to that point, but being to the point where I'm hungry. But you know what? I know I don't have to eat. You know, that getting to that point, I saw the best. Now, I did test going to bed with that feeling that you're super hungry and you have to eat and you're just starving, but you're going to go to bed anyway. I noticed I fell asleep. It took me a little longer to fall asleep because it was on my mind. But once I fell asleep, my recovery was not actually as bad. So it was better to go to bed really hungry than to go to bed really full. So yeah, the key is to go to bed a little bit hungry and to not eat within 3 hours before bed. So don't use a cell phone in bed, don't stare at a screen. Don't go to bed crazy hungry, but don't go to bed eating a lot of food. If you're going to eat something before bed, try and do it at the 3 hour mark, like you eat and then it's just about 3 hours before you go to bed. And make it light. Just something that will satisfy you, and that's not junk food because that will kill you. I'm telling you guys. I have tested out Twinkies. It's bad. Like, it's bad in the long run. It is just mind-blowing. From a bagel, even though the bagels I've had have sugar in them, from a bagel versus snacks or versus chips or pretzels wasn't as bad. I ate a lot of pretzels before bed one time, and it didn't hurt my recovery as much as I thought. But chips, even healthy chips, oh my word, did that tank my recovery. Let me check on this. Make sure our phone is still recording. All right. So, it is crazy. So pretzels was really the only snack that I had before bed that didn't hurt my recoveries that bad. Lightly salted as well, not like heavily salted. So, I have also tested out a theory. follow a lot of health gurus. Now, I'm not a health nut. I eat my meat. I eat my McDonald's. I eat my Wendy's. I have my iced coffees. I eat smorgasbords. I like to, I'm not this vegan. And if you are that's completely fine. That is great. Good for you. I mean, I think we all should find a path. If you are on a carnivore diet, that's actually something that I have looked into a little bit more. And I am slowly working my way closer to more of a carnivore diet. I know people that have done it and that are on it and saw major benefits in major areas. I don't think I'd ever 100% go with it because I need my iced coffees, and that's not on the carnivore diet. So I have tested out very many different things. Here's another fun fact. I have tested out eating salads before bed. Like, so for example, not eating anything other than, let's say I was hungry, I ate a salad before bed. My recovery didn't tank, but it wasn't that good. Like, it seems to be the key. It doesn't matter what you eat before bed. It seems to be the key. Don't eat before bed. So I looked into it more, and it has to do with your body, process the food as it goes down. Then in your stomach, it processes the food, and once it settles in your intestines and processes, if you eat before bed, your body is spending energy and time working on all that processing. So from the time you're eating it, going through your esophagus, going down into your stomach, and all that stuff, your body's processing that, and it takes many hours depending on what you eat. Now, salad actually is harder to process. It's something they won't tell you for your stomach, for your body. Now, if you eat like a really light salad, I'm talking like just like a little cup of salad, it's not gonna be. I'm talking about like a salad, a decent salad. It actually takes a little bit of time to process in your stomach and all that. So yeah, that actually takes energy. So if you're spending the first 3 hours while you're sleeping processing your food, well, that's 3 hours taking off of your recovery time. So, we've done that. So it comes down to try to eat, if you have to eat 3 hours before bed, try and just make it just enough to satisfy that hunger. Just enough. And not candy, not McDonald's, even though, trust me, hey, I get it. I love McDonald's. I mean, biting into that cheeseburger, oh man, that is delicious. And those fries, even though the fries, they are bad. They are bad. The chemicals that are sprayed on those potatoes, bad. They are so delicious. I get it. I mean, what contributed to my worst recovery last night was my 15th round of McDonald's before bed. So I tested McDonald's before bed 15 times, and I tested on the 3 hour mark, the 1 hour mark before bed. All 15 times led to a much poorer recovery than other foods. So yeah. I have also tested out the theory. There's a lot of people and a lot of guru doctors that I was talking about, a lot of longevity doctors. So I'm not talking about your standard doctor that you might think I'm talking about, or your standard nutrition. I'm talking about there's a few doctors out there that dedicate their career to extending the human life. These are researchers. These are people that have proven data, because I'm a data guy. These are people that have 10, 20 years. One guy has 45 years of proven data. So the whole fasting thing, the whole, eat 6 meals a day but super light, eat 2 meals a day, eat 1 meal a day. I have tested all these theories out, okay? Eating 6 times a day, 4 times a day, light, I saw a positive recovery, but it really wasn't anything for me to just be like, wow, I'm on board with that. It was just like, oh, okay, I noticed a little difference. Eating 3 times a day, light, I saw a decent recovery, decent sleep score, decent stress levels, and all that, which we'll get to also exercise, because I've done it with doing it and without. I then tried eating twice a day. Once very light, once heavy, too light. Different times throughout the day, one in the morning, one at night, one in the morning, one around 1 p.m., and then not eating. You know, that really was fluctuating crazy with the different times. I saw really good positive, then really bad negative on the difference. It was interesting doing that. Because eating super light 2 meals, you would think would be really good, but I actually saw some negative returns on that. I saw better returns eating super light for breakfast and then a decent sized meal around 4 to 6 p.m. in the evening. I saw way better recovery doing that method than any of the other methods, eating 6 times light, 4 times light, eating any other method. So I've also tested out eating a decent amount. So eating basically light to medium from, I would say, 10:30 a.m. to 12:12. In that time range, eating light to medium, and then eating a medium plus size meal from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So light to medium from 10 to 12, and a decent size meal from 4 to 5 p.m. twice a day. I have sold the best stats overall by doing that. And then not snacking, within 3 hours before bed, and not being on your phone in bed. I have saw the highest recoveries. I felt the best the next day doing that long term. And that's where I'm actually going to stay now. Because of all my data has shown me that eating, and I've seen my peak recovery, my peak mood, when I didn't eat until 11 to 12 a.m. So eating between 11 and 12, I would say light to medium, more in between that light and medium mark, and then eating a decent sized meal at 4 to 5 p.m. I have saw the best across the board on that, and that's where I'm actually sticking at now. That's where I saw my most weight loss. That's where I am eating. So if you guys want to grab a pen and paper and pause the video right now, would be a perfect time to do it. Eat 2 times if you're serious about your health in your life. Because this doesn't just affect weight loss, it doesn't affect that. It actually really helps your mental game as well. Eat 2 times per day between 11 a.m. and 12. You can get away with 10 a.m. That's okay. And then between, and that's going to be light to medium in the morning. I say 11 to 12 morning. It's really lunch time. And then medium plus between 4 and 6 p.m. Okay, that's the eating. Don't eat within 3 hours of bed. Okay? Don't eat within 3 hours before bed. Now, I have tried eating once per day, seeing how that went, and I saw basically similar recovery as eating twice per day. Some days it was positive, some days it was negative. So I saw kind of a bouncing through there on that. Sorry guys, my wife texts me and she gets priority over recording my video. Okay. So eating once or twice per day are pretty similar. So I personally, once per day is pretty tough. So I'm doing it twice per day. I'm just being smart about it. If you're gonna be on your phone, no more than 15 minutes per night in bed. So no more than 15 minutes phone time in bed, looking at the screen. Of course, the same applies for your tablet, you know, and that. Computer screen, so laptop was worse. A desktop with a bigger monitor was better. So I personally think it's okay to look at a screen before bed, as long as it's not the smaller the screen. It seems like the worst recovery I had, which is very interesting. I don't know if that has to do with like you're staring at a little screen versus a bigger screen versus a much bigger screen, and then you know that fun fact. Okay, now we're gonna do something that is gonna be almost impossible for most of the people, and let's check this camera because it's just gonna be really hard. So this next thing is definitely gonna be tough because most people can't do this. Now, some people can, I can, and that is naturally let your body wake up on its own. And I know a lot of people out there have a job, you know, they have a specific time they have to wake up at, so they got an alarm. But the best, one of amazing health boosters I have noticed is if you can naturally wake up when your body wakes you up and says it's time to get up. So I'm going to write that down. Let your body wake you up. And the great thing about letting your body wake you up is if you fluctuate from the time you go to bed or fall asleep, your body's going to naturally adjust, and it's going to say, okay, well, we need a little bit of extra sleep, so we're going to sleep in a little bit longer. And here, this is what comes with eating as well, which is so strange. When you wake up to an alarm, you are hungry way sooner. Way sooner than if you naturally let your body wake you up. It is so interesting. I need to do way more research and data on this because I don't quite understand it. Maybe you guys can shed some light on that and add to my research. When I wake up from an alarm, it doesn't matter if it's 30 minutes before my body would naturally wake me up. When I wake up to an alarm, I am hungry so much sooner. So, like, I'm talking an hour plus sooner than if I let my body naturally wake me up. But even though when my body naturally wakes me up, I've gone longer without eating than if I wake up sooner. So if I wake up sooner, you would think, well, the distance between when I last ate and when I woke up is not that wide. So why am I hungrier than when I let my body sleep in longer? And the distance between when I last ate and when I naturally wake up is wider. Why am I not as hungry? I've noticed if I wake up early, let's say I wake up at 7 a.m. My alarm's off at 7. I'm really hungry by 9:30 a.m. Like I gotta eat something by then. But if I don't, like right now, it's 10:35 a.m. I have not eaten anything besides the iced coffee, and I'm great. I'm not hungry. But if I woke up at 7, you can bet your top dollar I would have already had a bagel by now, or something. So that is so interesting to me. And if when I naturally wake up, I can go to about 10:30 to 12. I try to go between that 11 and 12 because that's the ideal recovery on everything I've seen. So it's crazy. It blows my mind. So let your body wake you up is so important on so many levels, which is crazy. Like, it's crazy naturally waking up. Okay, what else? Oh, exercise. That's a big one. So far, all these things that I've said to you has contributed to my best mental recovery. And what is so interesting, I have noticed I make more bad choices when I'm tired, or my recovery's worse, or my stress level's higher. I make more poor choices than when I am following to the T. I haven't fully followed any of this stuff, all that I'm writing down perfectly for a long period of time, because I've been doing so much data testing. I've done it most things I've done 15 times in a row as a test, and then split it up and then done it another 15 times and so forth. So exercise. I have gone without exercising. I have exercised light to medium to heavy exercising. This is very interesting. When I exercise heavier and really give my heart a strong workout, I feel way worse. Much worse. So those who don't like exercising, don't like cardio, you're going to like this. I have found the ultimate peak. And take a look at this, guys. Take a look at this. If you can walk, not run, but walk, and walk at a faster pace. I personally walk, not run. I don't approve of running. I have my personal data that I've really dived into that, and that could be for a whole nother video. I don't approve of running. I think, especially the heavier you are, if you're very, very thin, running is definitely minimal damage to your body, your legs, your knees, and your different things, based off of real data and real people that I've looked up and searched and all this different stuff. I have found if you walk at a decent pace, not just when I talk about walk, I'm not talking about like this. I'm talking about a fast-paced walk where your arms are going back and forth like this. You're at not like this, but more like this. Like a faster-paced walk. For me, a faster-paced walk is between 3 miles per hour and 3.7 miles per hour. My cell phone, and most cell phones, if you have a step counter or a tracker, you guys can see how fast you're walking, your miles per hour. Mine averages between 3 miles per hour and 3.7 miles per hour. And if you do that between 3 miles per hour and 3.7, I'll try. And by the way, this is based off of my real data. I've tried walking 1 mile per hour, 2 miles per hour, 5, which I couldn't walk too far at 5 miles per hour. Like walking, I had to start jogging a little bit at 5. I have seen my best peak overall. And guys, we're not talking about within a week. You might do one of these things in a week and it might not help you at all. I'm talking about months. The best turnaround time I saw for beneficial, and then after that is around 1.5 months to 2 months of doing one of these things solid, has major, and then it stays positive if you keep doing it. So, because your body has to adjust and get used to. So, walk on average 25 to 35 minutes per day. 25 to 35 minutes per day, or at least every other day, or minimum every other day. Going 3. Some people can't do 3 miles per hour, so for the sake of that, depends on your age and stuff and just starting. We're gonna say 2 2.5 to 3.7 miles per hour. Okay? I have seen, so far you got all this stuff together, and my friends, after a month and a half, your life will change. Your mindset will even be like, oh, you know what? In the past, I would have just gave in and said, you know, let me have that Twinkie. And now it's like, nothing's really, you know, I changed a couple things. And now it's like, you know, I can still eat that once in a while, but no big deal. So now that we're on that, eating. Oh, we can definitely. Here's something very interesting. Let me check the camera. I always stop it because to save the clips, guys, so I don't like miss something. Okay, you might be wondering. You may be wondering. Okay, Scott, what about hours of sleep? 4 hours of sleep, 12 hours of sleep. I'm very curious, Scott. What about that? Does hours of sleep matter? Like, should I try and get a certain amount of sleep? That was not the biggest factor in everything. That's why I didn't start off with that. Sleep was not the biggest factor, the hours of sleep, for your recovery and your health and all that. It is super important. Please understand, sleep is super important. But it wasn't the biggest factor. I have gotten 4 hours of sleep following all of these methods here. And then I've gotten about 9 hours of sleep. But for me, I can't sleep more than 9 hours. Like, my body just doesn't let me. So everyone's going to be a little different. So between 4 hours of sleep and 9 hours of sleep, doing all these things and all the other methods, I have personally come to realize that try to get between 7 hours of sleep and 9 hours of sleep. That seems to be the best range. Me personally, I get about 7 hours of sleep over the last couple months of doing all this. That's my range. I would say 8 hours of sleep I probably should be getting. But I'm gonna say between 7 hours and 9 hours of sleep is good. So if you can try to do that, so get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. And that also goes based off your stress level. And that's another thing we'll talk about. Stress does actually impact your performance. You are in high stress areas, that affects your performance, your health, and so much. So try, and we're going to add this, cut out stress. Cut out stress. Obviously, none of us are going to cut out stress 100%. But be conscious of it. This is something big and hard for me to still, because even though I'm conscious of it, I still stress, but I work on it. I try to be better. So try and cut out as much stress as you can, and just be more conscious of the stress that you have. Okay. So that's all I can really say on stress, because let it go. Let the dumb little things go. If you're still mad about something the next day, just let it go. Guys, girls, friends, kids, teens, adults, let it go. Life is so short. They did you wrong. Let it go. Forgive them. Because it's about you. It's about you living the best life you can be. And when you hold on to something against somebody else, you're not living the best life. You know, the saying is, someone spending, rent-free in your mind is pretty true on different levels. Just let it go. I'm telling you, doesn't matter if they hurt you to the core. Let them go. Forgive them. Use it as a life lesson. As Dave Ramsey says, when you buy something stupid or you make a stupid choice, it's a stupid tax. Consider it just a stupid tax. It's just a stupid tax, my friends. You make poor relationship choices. Now, if it's something like abuse, you're actually being abused, please seek help. That's something different. But for most people, it's just we're petty about the dumbest stuff. Well, my husband said he's gonna do this, and he didn't do this, and I'm getting sick and tired of him not doing what he says he's gonna do. I know. Your husband might be a goober. Your wife might be a nagging Nancy. Your wife might gossip about you behind your back. Look, welcome to life. You can sit there and stress about things, or you can try to better yourself and hopefully they see you changing. Don't worry about forcing them to change. You change. You be better. You benefit. You work on balance. So cut out stress. I'm trying to think, because there's a lot to go over, because when you spend months and months doing data, there's so much stuff. We did cutting out stress, we did eating, we did how often, like before bed eating, fasting. Fasting's interesting. Oh man, I gotta start a second one here. Fasting is so interesting. Fasting. Because I've seen negative effects on fasting. And I've seen positive. And the question is, when do you start seeing benefits, and when does your body start going into shock? Now, there's a lot of gurus, they'll say, go 3 days with fasting and all this stuff. I'm not going 3 days. Unless you have cancer or something, I don't recommend long-term fasting. My personal opinion, please understand that's my personal opinion. And I say cancers, tumors and stuff. When you find out that you have something like that, fasting is actually very important. On that, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, I have seen positive effects after not eating after 16 hours. So going 16 hours without eating. So between the 16-hour and 24 hours without eating, I've seen really positive effects from that. So my personal recommendation on fasting is go 16 to 24 hours without eating. And do that, do that as often as you can, but if you only can do it twice, 3 times a week, that's fine. 16 to 24 hours. Now, here's what is actually really helps. You can do that overnight. So, depending on when you go to bed, don't eat before bed. So, from the time that it's a little tough. You can't really count fasting from the time you stop eating. So let's say you eat a big meal and then you start counting fasting. Your body has to process that food and stuff, so you're taking energy and that stuff. I would say 1 to 2, 3 hours after you eat, then start the fasting counter. So let's say you eat at 6 p.m. 7, 8, 9 p.m. rolls around. You can effectively say you're starting your fasting. So 9, 10. Sorry guys, I'm so tired. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 15 hours. So it's like, oof, that's tough because you're already 15 hours and you're at 12 o'clock. So it is tough. If you would count right as you stop eating, that would put you back from 12, 11, 10, 9 a.m. would be, oh, that's going to go off here. Hold on, guys. So yeah, I've seen the positive. So that's going to be a little more tough. Fasting is definitely a harder thing, but it helps if you start it from the evening of the day before in the evening through the next day. And the benefits of that I've seen is, so our bodies gets rid of bad things in our system a couple ways: sweat, going to the bathroom, and this is going to be very interesting that a lot of people don't understand and don't know. And I've seen, because I follow researchers and actually health people, and not just your physical, not just your uh, health doctors that, your standard health doctors. I'm talking about people that are in geno and in like actually studying your gene, actually studying like what actually really prolongs your life and this and that. So sweat, going to the bathroom, and sweat, going to the bathroom, and snot and phlegm. Yes, this is very interesting. So your body kills different bad cells and stuff, and it can come out in the form of snot and phlegm. That's why when you got a cold, it makes sense when you look at it at the logical standpoint. You can have snot and phlegm without having a cold. Have you ever woke up with a stuffy nose, or maybe there's phlegm in your throat, and throughout the day it eventually goes away, and the next day comes and you're not sick or anything? And you might be wondering, well, that was weird. What was it? Well, that's actually your body getting rid of stuff. Now, the more you flood your system with foods and sugars and salts, your body can't keep up with it, so it doesn't get rid of the real bad cells, the cancer cells that are growing, the tumors and that kind of stuff. But your body naturally has a built-in mechanism when fasting actually promotes your body to attack bad things in your system. And when you don't eat, your body actually can focus then. Instead of going through the whole process of chewing, breaking up, esophagus, stomach, intestines, breaking up, putting in your bloodstream, breaking up, putting in, going through your bladder, going through all these different things, your body can be like, okay, he hasn't eaten for a while. Let's go see what's happening in our system. Let's go attack it. If it's bad, good, whatever. Let's hammer it out. Let's attack it. Let's do what we got to do. So your body actually goes on fighting mode because it doesn't have to worry about trying to do your normal everyday process. So that could come out in the form of going to the bathroom, sweating, and snot and phlegm. Here's the interesting thing. So you can have snot and phlegm and not be sick, or not get a cold, or not get sick the next day. And a lot of people just shrug it off as whatever, I don't know. But it's actually good for you. Just like eating hot foods can make your nose run, that's actually good for you. Hot foods have proven, I'm not saying like hot versus cold, I'm saying like hot spicy versus not, can actually help your system. Now too much can hurt your insides, but from time to time have some cayenne pepper in your food and that kind of stuff actually really helps your system. It also fights off some bad things as well. So there's so much different things, so we can actually add that to our list. From time to time, I would say try once a week if you can to eat spicy foods enough. I would say spicy enough that it makes your nose run. That's a good sign. So eat spicy food, and when I say food, you could add your seasonings to it. I recommend cayenne pepper. Just get pure cayenne pepper flakes or powder, pour it over your food. So eat spicy foods twice a week. Enough to make your nose run. So just do it enough to make your nose run, because that's actually good for you, which is, that's the perfect. Now, if your throat is burning, your nose is running, your throat is burning, your fingers are burning, you rub your eyes are burning, you might have gone a little bit too far. Cayenne pepper is very spicy, and it's okay if you do that at certain times. And when you do that, eat a medium plus meal. Don't eat a light meal with spicy food, because that will hurt you worse. So eat a medium plus meal with spicy food. And when I say spicy food, I recommend just adding powder, because oftentimes spicy foods are high in salt. So if you get something that's spicy, it's normally high in salt. But if you add cayenne powder, cayenne pepper to food, you can have steak with cayenne pepper, chicken, turkey. You can have mashed potatoes with cayenne pepper, chili. If you add it to it, you're not getting that salt like you would if you would have just buy spicy foods. And Homestead Tessie is blowing us up. She's laughing at me. So, yeah, spicy foods. But yeah, that is a fun fact. So if you wake up or from fasting, you notice that you got phlegm or something, be happy. That's awesome, because your body's getting rid of stuff. Your body is getting rid of bad cells. Your body's fighting things. It has been proven, and I know it is hidden from the world, and Google will block it. A lot of data research is blocked. So we are running out of time here with my phone. My storage is actually running low. So I'm not going to go too much into it. But I cannot tell you. By the way, happiness also affects. So be happy and positive. So be happy plus positive in all things in your life. Because that really contributes to a better health as well, which is crazy. You think, really? Well, yes, our minds are supercomputers. What we tell ourselves is, if you say, well, I had a bad day today, you're probably going to have a bad evening with your husband or wife or kids. How many times do you have a rough day and it follows through to your evening? Well, if you have a rough day and you say, I am not going to go home, I'm not coming home, and I'm not coming home and bringing my bad day home. I'm going to rant a little bit in a good way, with your spouse. It's good to talk about your day and be like, my coworker, blah, blah. That's fine. But don't be like, I had a bad day, and then be in a peed off mood all freaking evening. That's just ridiculous. Don't do that. Try and be positive as best as you can, even during bad days at work. So be happy. Be happy, healthy. It's true. So, yeah, studies have shown there have been many people that have terminal cancer, that have tumors, and have been saying there's no way of operating, there's nothing we can do about it, a couple months to live. There's the most famous guy that has been documented and studied, and there's tens of thousands of these cases. It's just they don't promote this because, well, the companies can't make money if you're cutting back on sugar and salt. That's another thing I do want to add. Cut back on sugar and salt. Cut back on sugar, salt. One thing that can help you supplement salt is add onion powder. Guys, so our one phone ran out. So I have two phones. This is a bit for recording, and then I have my personal phone. So we ran out. We were talking about onion powder. Add onion powder instead of salt. That's going to really help you. It's going to give you flavor. It's going to give you taste, and it's going to be way better than salt. And of course, add pepper. You can add your pepper like normal. I personally make a pepper and onion powder mix with it, and then I have a mix of pepper, onion powder, and cayenne pepper when I want to have my spiciness. So that's what we're on. Cut back on salt. Yeah, but back to the studies and stuff. A lot of people that are given, different things, when they go fasting, when they change their diet, and when they change their mindset, a lot, and I'm talking a high amount of people, see recovery like they could have never dreamed of. If you are hurting, you're sick, you're aching, your health is not that good, if you follow these steps, now these are my personal data. I have personally done this over the last 3 years of testing. If you personally do these steps, and I'm going to run down these steps quick at the end when I'm done here, because I keep thinking of things that
that I've seen positive on. And there's another one. If you do these things, my friends, your life will change. Life will change. I'm telling you. If you can do this for at least a month and a half, you'll start to see positive effects in your life. All of these things. Follow the list. Another thing that's very important is getting sun without sunscreen on. I know a lot of people go crazy and they think, but the cancer and all. Do you know the most, in the population where people live the longest, it's populations that most of them are like, what do you mean sunscreen? What is this? It's populations where they spend all day, all their time out in the sun. There's one catch to that though. If you spend all your life wearing sunscreen and all your life being paranoid of that, don't just go out now and spend an hour in the sun. What I have come to notice for health-wise, the benefit is 30 minutes in direct sunlight. And I'm not talking about like in the middle of summer when it's 100 degrees. I would say between 70 and 85 degree sunlight. So spend 30 minutes in 70 to 85 degree sunlight. It doesn't have to be per day, but if you can do it once to twice per week, that really helps you. And the less clothes that you can wear doing this, the better. I know your neighbors might not want to see your belly. But if you guys can do it in private, try and do it in private. Stay away from the tanning beds. That's gonna hurt some millennial feelings on that one. So try not to wear any hats or anything to allow your head to soak up sun as well. But here's the thing. Those people that I just went over that spend all their lives in sun without sunscreen, most of them wore. So if you're spending all day outside, pretty much every day outside, cover your head. Because the biggest thing I saw is most of them wear hats. The women wear big straw hats and the men have hats. So they're still getting sun through the hat. They're still heating up their head. They're still doing that through their hat, but they're not getting the direct sunlight for hours at a time. So if you're going to be out for 30 minutes, don't have a hat. Try and get 30 minutes of exposure without wearing a hat or anything. And then after that, you can wear a hat, no problem. If you're in sunlight for a long period of time, so long sun exposure, after 30 minutes, wear hats. Okay. If you're a really, really white person, really, really white, just start off at baby steps, 30 minutes outside with your shirt off and whatever. Again, baby steps. Just baby steps into it if you naturally are the sunscreen person. And I know I'm going to get really hate for that. Really hate. But I'm sorry. You cannot argue with the nations and the countries that have the highest population. There was Netflix did a recent document series that proved. Now they ignored the fact, but the people there, you could tell. People that are 100 years old and plus spend all their life outside. All their life. Not wearing sunscreen, none of that stuff. And they're in their hundreds plus. I'm talking about the highest areas of people 100 plus from generation to generation is areas where they're not worried about putting on sun lotion. They're also an area that they're not getting a lot of sugars. It's very interesting, my friends. So, this is just, if you follow these things, so let me go over and these things. And hey, if you want to change your life, you can. That's great. If you don't want to, that's fine. This is just, I'm a data guy. I love following data, and you guys can follow me. I'm 34 years old. I can do things that I could have done when I was 16, 17 years old still. I don't wake up with a single ache or pains. I do, that actually reminds me of something else to add that I do. Because I'm just telling you, I'm not bragging, I'm not being cocky. I'm telling you what I do that keeps me feeling amazing, but I still can have my McDonald's and sugar from time and do all this stuff. Like guys, I'm not this like ripped, super thin guy here. I'm living life, I'm enjoying life, enjoying food and stuff, but these things really help you. In bed, when you first wake up, my friends, very important to stay nimble. I say staying nimble, staying active is very important. Being flexible is extremely important. So when I'm in bed, let's say I'm laying in bed, when I wake up in the morning, I go like this. So I first start off going like this. I don't just like really go really hard right away. I slowly start out. So for some people, you might not be able to get your leg more than this. Start out like this. You can count every 15 seconds, inch forward. So 15 seconds, inch forward. 15 seconds, inch forward. 15 seconds, inch a little forward. 15 seconds, inch a little forward. Until you can get like really, I don't know if I can still do this anymore. Woo! That's hard. But I can still bite my toe. The funny thing is, this side, I can't actually do it that's as far as I can go on this side, which is really weird. So I need to actually practice being flexible on my right, which is funny because I'm right-sided. So how can I do that on my left side but not my right? It's just more flexible. So this side, I can only really do like this. So which is very interesting. So you start off, you can feel your muscles stretching. So don't go really hard, really fast, my friends. Just slowly inch forward. So at this point where I am right now, it actually kind of hurts a little bit. So we're going to back off a little bit. It hurts, but not like pain. So you just leave it like that for a little bit. Kind of, you can rotate your, bounce your leg a little bit. Kind of bounce off that muscle to stretch it out. And now we can go a little bit forward. Yeah, it's definitely real tight. So you just slowly do that. Just work it slow. And now we can inch forward. It's amazing what our bodies can do. So we just slowly work at it. At this point, I would have been in decent pain at this position, but now it's about the same from when I first started. So as you see, I'm just kind of rocking it back and forth. Look at this. I'm inching forward every time, and the pain is staying about the same. Because our body, so naturally try and relax then. Just, relax. Can you see how far I am versus before? And then when you're done, this is important. I didn't just like fling back like that. This is important. When you're done, slowly let it off and just slowly go back to normal. And when you get up, you do the stuff in bed and just throughout the day, you stay so flexible. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing what you can do. And when you say, well, I'm too old, I have been following people in their 90s that can do things that I can't dream of doing at my age of 34. There is a freaking guy, 90 plus, I think he's like 94, 96. My wife and I were watching. A guy who can freaking do this. He can go like this. He can cross his legs like this on the ground. So he's sitting on the ground. He can take his forehead and he can go like this and touch the freaking floor. He can take his head and touch the floor. What? In his 90s. In his 90s. What? And you might think, wow, he's just double jointed. No, I've seen this from tons of different people in their 90s and older that they can do this stuff. It's all about what you do every day. That comes with discipline. You're disciplined on everything. Your eating, your health, your relationships, your fitness, all that stuff. And you don't have to go out to a gym and pump iron and stuff. All this stuff is free. You wake up and you just do it. I'm telling you guys, it's amazing. So we can add that to the list because it's something I do that keeps me. And a lot of people are like, this is something I hear so bad, and it makes me wonder. People in the 30s, I hear all the time. People my age, oh, you wait till you're 35. You wait till you're 30. Like when I was in my 20s, people said, you wait till you're 30. You'll see what we're talking about. Well, you wait till you're 35. You will understand. Understand what? They're like, well, you will understand, the aches and pains. You're waking out of bed and feeling stiff all the time and just not feeling yourself. And I'm 34. We're still here. It's like the things that we do dictate that. If you naturally are stiff, well, the things that we do can change that. What we do changes everything. And when you have that in your mindset, because your mind, that's actually another. So let's do this. Stretch often. This is why yoga is really good for a lot of people. Like when you see older people, younger people doing yoga, they're really flexible. Yoga is really good. I don't do yoga. I just stretch. So I'm, not the downward dog type of guy. And also mindset. Mindset, that kind of goes with the be happy and stuff. But mindset is key. Because if you have a bad mindset, you're not going to do any of this stuff. To you, you're going to be the person like, oh, that sounds good. I'll do it for a week. I don't see progress. It doesn't work. A week passed, guys. I went through his whole list. Doesn't work. My friends, discipline. If you save $1 per week, at the end of 7 days, you have $7. You might think that's worthless. You save $1 after 1 full year, you have $365. It's not bad. That can pay some bills. You save $1 after 10 years. What is that anyway? That'll be 365 times 10 would be, what is that? 369. Would that be 30? Is that 30? That's not 30,000 after 10 years. No, guys. Is that? No. I'm sorry, guys. Please keep in mind, I am running on 32%. So my brain is running at 32%. Anyway, it's actually easier just to do. So do I have a calculator? I want to say 30,000, but I feel like that's so wrong. So 365 times 10. 3,650. I knew 30,000 knows. So you would have $3,650 in 10 years. So that's a long time. But everybody can save $1 a day. Or 99.5% of people in America watching this video can save $1 a day. Well, in 10 years, that $3,600, that can do some decent things. That can get you a beater car. So the point is, the small little things you do every day are really important. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sure there's more stuff that I could do, but I'm going to add a separate video just going over these stuff, probably make it a short for everybody, but this was a long video. Thank you guys. We're working on our belly. I appreciate you guys. That's so random. I'm such a random guy.